I always loved the locker room. It's the one place on earth where nothing and nobody could ever bother me. It had been that way since before I played my first game of organized football. And that's how it was on October 20th, 1997, as I prepared to play for the Buffalo Bills against the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football. I basically grew up in the locker room. My dad coached high school football, so I felt at home there from the time I started tagging along with him to practice as a toddler. I loved the sights, the sounds, the smells, everything. The locker room was my safe haven, my sanctuary. Tonight, though, would be different. Much different. So different it would alter my life in a way I could not yet comprehend. About 5 hours before kickoff, I sat alone inside our locker room, preparing to do the job I loved. I'd sat in locker rooms like this my whole life. It's where I felt most at home, most alive, because football consumed my life and gave order to everything I did. From the time I could formulate my first thoughts of what I wanted to become, I always gave the same answer: a football player. Early in my career, I told an interviewer, "This is my life. I grow up, I play football. I play in the NFL, I retire, I coach football, I die." That shallow and self-absorbed approach defined me, and at the time, I completely embraced it as the way to be the best at what I did. Other boys wanted to become cops or firemen or doctors. Not me. I wanted to be a professional football player. If I couldn't become an NFL player, then I wanted to become a garbage man, because I thought it would look cool to ride around hanging on the back of that big truck. Given where I grew up, it seemed my destiny to play football at the highest level. After all, I was born in Canton, Ohio, where professional football began in the 1920s with the Canton Bulldogs and the legendary Jim Thorpe. The National Football League began in Canton, and later the Professional Football Hall of Fame was built there, just a mile from the house where I grew up. Located in northeast Ohio, Canton sits next to Massillon, perhaps the #1 high school football town in America. Massillon has a football stadium that seats 17,000, over half the town's population of 30,000. They named the stadium after the legendary Paul Brown, who coached high school football in Massillon before he became the father of modern professional football with the Cleveland Browns. Every baby boy born in Massillon receives a tiny orange and black football in his crib from the nurses at the hospital. Maybe that's why the Massillon Washington Tigers have won 22 state championships and more games than all but 2 high school programs in America. I wasn't born in Massillon, but football was born into me. My dad took me and my older brother, Rick, to practice with him from the time we could walk. While other kids watched cartoons or Saturday matinees, I watched game films with my dad and his coaching staff. I learned not just to watch the game, but to see the game, to understand how it unfolded, and most importantly, to admire the same qualities in a player that my dad valued most. He loved tough, relentless, passionate, hard-hitting guys, and so I came to love that style too. I channeled all my energy into becoming a physical, aggressive player. When I got my first football helmet for Christmas at age 5, my grandma came over to the house. "Hey, Chris," she said, "you want to play some football?" I tackled her right there in our living room. I took her out. She bounced right up, though. You could tell she was a Spielman. Whatever toy I had, a G.I. Joe, army men, cowboys, they all became football players. I loved crashing them into each other like the collisions I saw on the field. I fantasized about becoming that kind of player, and I became exactly that. I understood the violence inherent in football, and I played it violently within the rules. The position of linebacker fit my skills and my temperament like a glove. Launching your body at a high rate of speed into other human beings, with no regard for anyone's safety, yours or theirs, requires an indifference to physical pain. Since linebackers must do that, I did that, and I loved doing it. That night in Indianapolis, I prepared myself to do it again.